If you have ever lived with anxiety, you know how frustrating it can be when you start panicking about something, and it's all you can think about. Once you let an anxious thought take over, it can lead you on a roller coaster ride of fear, anxiety, and a bunch of physical symptoms. One of the worst things about anxiety is that it can be overwhelming. It sits in the middle of your brain and won't let anything else come in or out. Even though the anxiety is causing us extreme pain, it blocks any attempts to ask questions, analyze, investigate, or reconfigure. We are both scared and unable to think outside of our fear. Our thoughts become dark, monotonous, and repetitive. I keep an anxiety toolbox in my bag just in case something like this ever happens. It's not a real toolbox, but it's a set of tricks and strategies that I use to get through an anxiety or panic attack. I usually use it to ask myself a few key questions. I use these questions to help me make sense of my anxiety and bring it back to the present. When I do this, my symptoms tend to subside, and I feel better. Here are my questions to ask yourself when you are feeling anxious. What is my anxiety trying to tell me? Fully feeling what you are feeling is very healing. When you're feeling anxious, it's important to pay attention to the places in your body where it's most intense and where it starts. A lot of times, these body sensations, pains, and so on, will start to show up before you even know you're anxious. This can help you figure out what's causing the anxiety and how to manage it so it doesn't get worse. For example, underneath your anxiety there might be a fear. It can be a fear of the uncertainty or the fear of loneliness, etc. For example, maybe you're feeling anxious because of a social gathering, which may be related to your own sense of how you look at yourself, a sense of self-worth. Of course, it's always better to focus on what's really bothering us, rather than letting our imaginations run wild. And to do that, sometimes it's a good idea to ask yourself a simple but potentially revealing question. What is my anxiety trying to tell me? Next question to ask yourself is, what practical steps could I take to meet my needs? Being aware of how I feel gives way to knowing what I need. The next question we can ask is, what practical steps can I take to meet those needs? Feeling lonely? You probably need connection. Call a friend, engage yourself in something productive, or go out for a walk. Feeling overwhelmed? You might need to breathe. Deep breathing can be a great tool to reduce feelings of anxiety and help calm your body. Start by taking a deep breath in through your nose, hold the breath, and exhale out of your mouth. Repeat as many times as you need. There are times when we are anxious because of our overthinking, and in such cases, it is best to ask, am I exaggerating things? There are times when we get so entangled in our thoughts that we fail to recognize the actual issue. Thinking about the same issues, problems, worries, and fears for too much creates unnecessary anxiety. Ask yourself, am I thinking too much? Am I unnecessarily making the issue large? Do I really need to worry about it? Is it in my control? What advice will I give to my friend? I feel bad, but does that mean things really are bad? To come to present and stop the chain of thoughts, try doing the below steps. Listen to 5 sounds around you. 5 things you can see around you. Touch 5 things around you. It is best to go the root cause of our anxiety. There are times when we are anxious because of our overthinking, and there are times we are anxious because of patterns that are formed over the course of life. While some of these anxieties can be interpreted as worrying things in the real world, there's another class of anxieties, and it's a relatively large one at that. These anxieties exist for the sole purpose of distracting us from understanding important aspects of our lives. At times, we should replace our anxiety with something much more important, a reckoning with the true ambivalence and intricacy of our lives. And this should be done through a straightforward inquiry. What is my anxiety trying to tell me?